Good evening, everybody, and welcome to yet another live broadcast with Ads Unscrewed. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Ads Unscrewed, and I must say it has indeed been a very, very long time since my last broadcast. I'm rusty. It's been a very long time since my last broadcast. After doing this for a couple of months, I've come to realize that December time is an extremely difficult time to get guests on this show. Everybody's busy. Everybody's busy shutting down for the year. You know, things are chaotic and there's just admin galore. But thankfully, I have nailed down the one person that I wanted to get onto the show. It wasn't easy. She's a busy woman, but she has taken the time out of her day to spend with us. And I would like to welcome everybody and introduce Betsie Strydom. Betsie is the owner of Charis Properties, a very, very large estate agency out in Pretoria. She's spent many, many years in the property and estate side of life, and she's here tonight to answer some questions that we've all been wanting to answer. She has taken the time out of her day to be here with us tonight, guys. So let's welcome her. Betsie, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having me. I've spent the last couple of weeks harassing Betsie like no. I was the one name on her WhatsApp that she just didn't want to see anymore. It was always, "Hey Betsie, how you doing? When we're doing the show?" So I'm very grateful that you've taken the time out of your day to join us here today. Betsie, I think let's begin by, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you've come from in the industry and, how the journey with Charis Properties began.
Okay, great. Well, I started my real estate career in the Amanzimtoti under Remax as an independent contractor, and in 2002. So it's been quite a journey. I got out of the business for a while, and my husband joined me. So he basically took over some of our clients, and we run together with the business as such. Yes. So that's where it all started. Then we moved back to Pretoria. My husband was involved with some family business, and we moved towards the city. Didn't know anything about the market in Pretoria because we started out in the Amanzimtoti, which being a coastal town. So we grabbed the opportunity and we jumped in here again in 2013. We joined a normal real estate company, and then we also were managers for that company and growing that team. And in 2015, I got the opportunity to establish our own brand, which is Charis Properties, which you know today. So a lot of thought and prayer went into that because we were in a stage in our lives where we would not want to make a wrong decision again or at all.
Yes.
So I think lots of people come to that place where they really need to make the right decision. So you need wisdom and clarity on a situation. So we really went in deep thought and prayer about it, and then we started the company. So just a little bit of the meaning with regards to the name. So we chose Charis because it's originally from Greek. So it is a beautiful meaning, and it means charitable grace or kindness to one another. And we thought it well to choose that specific name because in our industry, you go into persons' homes. That's very personal, private spaces, and sometimes it's
Sure.
good and people, and sometimes it's really they need to sell because there's divorce or death or whatever the case may be. So you're really in a situation where you can impact people around you in the way that you handle yourself and the client. And that's what we're all
No,
about. So,
absolutely.
yeah, so we really think that we do things differently, and that is serving our community and really offering the best we can on their behalf, you know. So we really look out for one another and are always our clients as well.
You see, you know what amazes me is in this day and age, how few companies think about their names. You know, very few companies actually go into the meaning of a name. It's more about just establishing and registering a business and creating a brand behind
Yes,
it. Very few people actually go and say, "Well, I'm naming my company because of this." And it's very
absolutely.
interesting to see it. Very, very interesting to see
Absolutely.
it. It actually goes to show a
It
lot.
is. And yeah, definitely. And it creates the culture of the business. And that's going to be ultimately your team standing behind you or going forward with you, you know. So it's really, really
Absolutely.
important.
No, that's absolutely brilliant. No, well, that's I mean that gives the viewers a nice little how do I say introduction into who you are, where you come from, and what your business is. Now,
Thanks. In
Betsy
fact,
and
if
I,
I can just add something about our team, we are a passionate bunch of people together, and we love real estate. Obviously, that's why we are doing it. So we are trading in Pretoria, the whole of Pretoria, Nelspruit, East Rand, Randburg, and then also part of the Garden Route. And we specialize in sales and rentals as well. So, yeah, I can't do it without my team, and definitely not without my husband and my children.
you see thing right there. When you get to the top, don't forget to thank the people that help get you there, guys.
Absolutely. Always
Spot you
stay
because
humble.
I mean, humble, absolutely. So I'm going to put you on the spot here. We discussed a couple of questions, prior to going live, but
Mm.
my next question is basically just jumping into it. You know, it's all of us are so tired of hearing about COVID, and
Sorry, you gone.
as effect agree that am I gone? And now I'm back. Geez, I
Yeah,
don't know. It's always
missed
every
you.
time ads wants to go. Every time ads wants to go live, the internet kicks in. I don't understand it. But what I was saying was, everyone's so tired of hearing about COVID, and it has affected every industry in different ways. But I think everybody's taken a knock, haven't they? What effects has COVID had on the property market in 2020?
Yes, absolutely. You know, when we went into hard lockdown level 5, you know, the property market came to a halt. So it was a concern of us. You know, I think that first 3 weeks, everyone thought, oh, wow, nice holiday, you know, but after that, then it was serious, you know. So, and under level 4, South Africans were still not allowed to move houses. So it was very problematic. We needed to do addendums, people needed to move now, needed to stay. People were paying off bonds and still not be able to move into their new property, you know. So it was a great mess at that stage. And as well, the deeds office were closed. So everything was at a standstill. Can you hear me?
Yeah, got you.
Got you. Okay, so well, at least with the regulations easing up a little bit, the deeds office reopened, and we could get registrations through again. So, and the estate agents could work again. Obviously on a different way. We had to do virtual viewings, and we had to set up our website in that way. So it's a lot of thinking and organizing everything to get in, to get into that virtual mode, remote mode, and following protocol with the viewings and everything being with the strict rules and regulations, So it was a bit hectic for us as well. And obviously, we work on a commission basis only.
Yes.
So definitely there were lots of agents that weren't generating any income during that stage.
And I would imagine, with the lockdown and how it adversely affected people's jobs and livelihoods, I would imagine you guys probably had a lot of issues to deal with between owner and the leasee. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that as well. That as well. People that really struggled needed to renegotiate lease terms, make arrangement for payments and all those kind of things. So, yeah, it was, we had to put some measures in place to assure that we still act on the best behalf of the landlord in all cases. It was difficult.
Yeah, sure. And I suppose you guys are sitting in the middle of this. You guys have got the owner of the property saying, well, EC saying, well, gee whiz, look, I can't pay. And it must have been very difficult to find that common ground.
Of course, because of it being a state of emergency as well, so you do have people that do take chances sometimes, and you have to be hands-on to put them in place as well, to say, listen, this is not the way it's going to be. You need to make a plan. So we had to be firm, but we got through it, and everything went well. So all the people that were in a predicament at that stage already came back and made their payments up to date and all those kind of things. So we're really blessed in that way as well.
Yeah, and I mean, as a business, it must have been difficult to evolve into the digital revolution in a very, very short space of time.
Yes, no, definitely. And, it's all about relationship and trust, so you need to be hands-on and communicate. So that's getting onto it right away, organizing, arranging everything and put everything in place, so then everyone is also safeguarded by that, and they understand what is expected of them.
No, absolutely. But I mean, sure, that is a very, very difficult position to be in. I'm sure you guys took quite a knock as far as that goes. Betsie, next question. 2020, why did people choose to rent or sell their properties? I mean, is it they could afford it?
Sorry, Adam, I didn't get. Sorry, just repeat the question, Adam. Couldn't hear you.
Catch me there.
Sorry,
no
Adam.
Problem. I was just saying, in the year 20, what were the main reasons people decided to? Was it an affordability thing?
Sorry, I can't get you, Adam.
Can't you get me? I don't know. The internet on one or the other side is a bit difficult. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Okay, so my next question was, this year, 2020, what were the main reasons people opted to either rent or sell their properties? Was it an affordability thing? Were people downsizing?
Yes,
were they sort of
trying
to be proactive with COVID?
Yes, there's many different reasons at any stage in real estate. It can be financial, it can be relocation, it can be a promotion, it can be life-changing events like sickness or death or divorce or retirement, job transfer. So there's many reasons. You named just one now as well with upgrading or downsizing, so there's many reasons for that. People also buy for investment to rent it out. Are more careful now than before, but you do get different situations and circumstances with people and their income and where they're at in life. So
Yes.
you will always have that. Yes.
So the year 2020, a buyer's market or a seller's market?
It's definitely a buyer's market.
Definitely a buyer's market. So I mean, so
Buyers,
there were a lot of people looking for bargains. I mean, essentially,
of course, the prices, I might say, and it's only our opinion and our experience in our agency and our areas.
yeah.
We see that it flattens out a little bit to be more realistic. So that also makes it more affordable for people to buy a property. And obviously, if we say it's a buyer's market, there's still a lot of stock in the market, so buyers can compare and see what will be affordable and suitable for them at the end of the day to make that offer and negotiate their terms. So
Yes,
if that answers your question.
absolutely. That actually leads me into my next question quite nicely. Actually, it set me up very well. So, in the year 2020 now, I'm going to say post-COVID, even though we are basically in the middle of it. What happened with property values? What have you seen? Are people being realistic with the selling price of their properties, or are they trying to push it? Are they dropping it to get rid of the properties quicker? What is happening with those pricing trends?
There's always different segments in the market. So if you look at luxury homes or your high-end market, obviously those we experience that the price deflates. So obviously it's your more expensive homes. You do
Yes,
have the different segments. So yes, sometimes people need to sell quickly. Some people do have the time to wait, but I can always say, please don't outprice your property in the market, because your best buyers will go buy and they will not go back. So that's really a problem in our market. And, with COVID and post-COVID and all those kind of things, if you say, it creates uncertainty. And with uncertainty, people are reluctant to make hasty decisions unless
right.
they are pushed into it, forced into
Yes.
it. Let's say they can't afford the payment anymore, or they really need to move now because they are now permanently going to work from home, or whatever the case may be. That's just an example.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a year of adjustment for everyone, I think. So now, Betsy,
Yes.
I need you to go ahead and look into your crystal ball now. I need you to look at 2021, and this is a very difficult thing to answer, or a difficult question to answer, rather. So, the year 2021, is it safer to rent? Is it safer to buy? In your
Well,
opinion?
in my opinion, it is, again, that depends on every individual's need. So for some, it makes more sense to rent because it's more affordable. Some they may only get into the market, they're young and starting out. As I
Yes.
said, it all depends on what the needs are. And then that's on a short term, it works well. But on a longer, lengthy period, it will end up costing the tenant more money. So in the long term, ownership, brings stability, and it's a tangible asset, So experience
Right.
show how earlier you get into the market, the better. And the sooner you will be able to afford that dream house, because if you get into the market with a starter up, like a unit, and you upgrade, you're ready to upgrade, you can always have that property as an investment property and rent it out. And that's an income generator, So it's difficult to say, as you said, but it's also easy to answer because there's different needs at different situations.
Yes.
Sometimes people need equity and they need to sell as well. So, and when you're renting, it's not definite. Your lease can expire. You can be in your rental term for 12 months and now find out no, the landlord wants to sell, the seller wants to sell his home. So now you need to look out for another property as well. But as we know, life happens, and sometimes you're in a position where you can't buy. You need to still set up yourself in life to be able to afford a repayment on a bond, or you had bad debt in the past and still need to recover from that. So there's different situations why people rent. They might even own a home in the Cape Province, but now he is in Pretoria for a job and only be renting. So going back maybe on a contract basis or so. So there's different needs for people. And as long as there's a house, there's people, they need homes and they need a roof over their head. It might be a home to own or a home to rent.
Well, personally, I'm still working on my 12-bedroom mansion, so hopefully one day I do get there. But for now, this will have to do. So, Betsie, moving along here, is it a good time to look at purchasing a property now? I mean, I understand that it's down to the individual and where you are in life, and but is it a good time to buy a property now? Will you see a saving? We don't know what's going to happen with COVID. We don't know what job losses are going to end at. If I were to ask you, if you were to compare it to years prior, is it a good time for people to invest in property now?
Investment, I think people would think twice to invest because of the uncertainty of what the market is going to do. But as I said, people are at different stages in their life and might be looking exactly for that, buying up in a down market with purchasing a bargain or whatever the case may be. We are still going to feel the ripple effect of COVID during 2021. I think we're not there yet. We're still going to see the repercussions of that. So if I can answer, is it a good time to buy? Yes, it is. If you can afford it, yes, it is. Because I'm going to just tell you why I'm saying that. Because of the interest rate being so low at the moment, it's the lowest it has been in 50 years at 7%. So if you have a bond of R1 million, your repayment amount would have dropped from 9,650 at January to 7,753 after the rate cut in July. So
wow,
absolutely, it is definitely, if you can afford it, it is actually now more than ever possible to get into the market where you were renting. You can now afford to buy your own property just because of the interest rate. But just a warning that it's not going to stay that way. It might increase during next year again, maybe gradually, but it will go up. So that's why affordability is always so important. Don't button the rope too much. Make sure you can afford it.
Just a question, we not a prepared one. Just a question that I've just dreamed up right now. Do you see a lot of clients trying to stretch their budgets, or do you see is there a trend of clients being cautious in terms of what they can afford on a month? I suppose there's an affordability range that's established sort of early on in the application process. I've also owned a house, so I do recall that. But do you see people keen to sort of stretch their budgets, or are they a bit more, let's just kind of stick within our four walls here?
Listen, you get the two opposites, eh? So you do see people that's stretching their budgets, and that's a danger in it. But you do have your cautious buyers as well, because they know that they have to do maintenance and have levies or whatever, municipal accounts, and upkeep the property. So they are cautious. They're definitely more educated, so they know what they want. And that's why I'm also cautioning people out there to not outprice their property if they want to sell. If they seriously want to sell, they do not need to overprice the property to make the process very difficult.
Very, very, very long and tough. Hey? Okay, now this is where I want to pick your brain. Okay, I want to pick your brain, good and solid here. Give our viewers a couple of tips, or let's do this. What should sellers take into consideration when trying to sell their properties come 2021? Are there any tips you can give them? I mean, besides obviously
sure.
that pricing.
I'm going to repeat myself again. Never overprice your property. Never outprice your property in the market. And then again, the market determines the price. So it is currently a buyer's market. So people are educated, as I mentioned before. They know what's happening. They know what is out there. They compare value to one another. They know what they want. So they quickly move on if a property is not priced correctly. So that's one tip. That's my most important tip to people. And then appoint a passionate, competent estate agent to deal with the selling and marketing of your home. And then, most sellers think that opening up the mandate will bring them more buyers. Also, again, untrue. Go on an exclusive with your preferred property professional who is going to market your property. They will definitely do much more getting to sell that property, knowing that they're exclusively working on that property.
Right.
And then this is also very important. They need to give 90 days notice to their bank if they still have a bond, just to notify them of the intent of selling, so that they do not incur penalties on cancelling the bond.
That's a big one right there. I did not know that.
Yes. So that's very important. And sellers also remember that the buyers also have lots of costs trying to afford to buy your home. So take that in consideration as well.
Well, I mean, there's some golden tips right there, guys. I hope everyone's made notes. I know that I certainly have. I actually went through an exercise where I tried to sell my house a couple of years ago, and my goodness, Betsie said, choose the right agency that's right for you. Work with the person that's right for you. I learned that the absolute hard way. I chose, obviously I'm never going to mention names here. I am not going to slam people, but I made very, very hasty decisions. And in the end, it simply wasted my time. So it's very important to work with an agency or an elected agent that basically has the same vision as you do, that buy into what you're trying to achieve, what you want for your home. But in the same breath, just like Betsie says, take their advice, take their professional advice. These are the people who know the industry. They know what the market average is, trying to push the envelope, and it's not to say that if your house is worth R1 million that you can't sell it for 1.7. It's just that your market gets so much smaller, and selling the house for 1.7 is like winning the lotto. These people, these agencies, they spend money marketing your homes. They incur a lot of costs in that process, and I think with that in mind, the sole mandate, it's a very, very understandable thing. I was a person who frowned at the sole mandate. I thought, sure, everybody speaks badly about this, but when you see how much work goes into selling a property, they are essentially a professional agency that specialize in dressing your home up for sale. And I think it's always better to work with them than against them. Listen to them, find that common ground. You want 1.3, they're saying, okay, 1.25. Let's find the common ground and work within that. No matter what you do in life, there's always a little bit of wiggle room. Whether it's the TV that's been sitting in grandma's room for 10 years that you just don't want to let go because nobody wants to give you 500 Rand for it, give it away for 200 bucks. Give it away for 200 bucks. That's 200 Rand that you have, and the same principle applies with your home. A little bit of a bigger investment and a bigger decision, I do admit, but definitely one to consider. Now, Betsie, Go for
Adam,
it.
I just want to add to this. If you give an exclusive mandate to someone and they do not perform, you can always fire them.
This is true. Again, this is something that I did not know at that stage. I wasn't well educated. You kind of just I wanted to move abroad, and that was the plan. So I was like, I'm going to detach myself from every asset that I have here. Just get rid of it.
Yes,
And it
yes,
actually turned out to be a lot harder than I could have ever imagined. It is so important to
yes.
work with somebody that knows what they're doing. And that goes for all walks of life. All walks of life, no matter what industry you're in, work with people
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
And now
Absolutely.
in the same breath, you've offered some tips for the sellers. What can we offer the buyers in terms of advice when purchasing a property come 2021?
Buyers, again, affordability. Make sure you know and understand what you qualify for before you go and look at properties that steals your heart and then you can't afford it.
And there are lots of
So
tools available for this. Am I right? I know that
there's
online
lots of
there's
tools
affordability calculators everywhere.
everywhere on the financial institutions websites everywhere. They can contact us as well. We do have our bond consultant that's working with pre-qualifications free of charge, so they're very, very welcome to contact us on that. And then they must remember that there's costs. So sometimes people do not realize that there's transfer costs and transfer duty and bond registration and all those fees. It can add up quickly. And that's the funds that you need. If the attorney calls for it, you need to pay it over. Then you can't say, let us do a payment plan, because it's going to delay the transaction. So upfront for buyers, remember, if you only qualify for 80% bond, you will have to have a 20% deposit. If you buy property over a 1 million rand, there will be transfer duty payable. It's exempted up until 1 million, but there is still cost involved for the attorneys. So it's transfer cost and bond registration fees.
And how much what sort of percentage is that tax, if I may ask?
Well, that's on a sliding scale, so we can work that out as well
I see.
for them. Yes, so it's not a set fee. So yes, so up to 1 million, it's exempted. If they want more information, they can contact us again, and we will be more than happy to help them calculate that.
Fantastic. Now, even though I do believe that we've sort of covered, parts of this question, I'm just going to ask it anyway, because that's just the kind of guy I am. What sort of advice can you give to, let's look at sellers when selecting the ideal property agency?
Okay, well, I would say choose a reputable company. Make sure they comply with all the laws and regulations of South Africa. Make sure they're registered with the Estate Agency Affairs Board, because the board is there to protect the public against the agent. And then also interview a couple of agents before you appoint one. And then establish the rules of engagement and ask for a proper marketing plan. And as I said, if you do not receive it or there's no performance, then fire the agent. Get another one.
And there's actually quite something you just mentioned there, interview multiple agencies. And I can't speak for everybody, but I know for a fact that when I went down that road, I most certainly didn't. I spoke to a guy who in turn knew a guy who knew somebody else that was an estate agent. And that's kind of how I got hooked up with those particular people. And
Yes.
I couldn't have been more disappointed. You kind of you trust your friend who trusts his friend who trusts her friend, and it's you're right. Have a formal process where you literally interview each agency, find
Yes.
what you like, look at the pros, look at the cons, look at the reputation. That's a big one, and make your decision based on that. I think there's very few people out there who've actually, followed that process.
Yes, and definitely, as you mentioned before, you need to find someone that's going to be right for you. You need to build that trust relationship with that person. He needs to be reliable. You need to be able to trust that person in every step of the way. He's acting in the best behalf of yourself, and
Yep.
you need to find someone that's right for you.
Yeah, it's absolutely, because it essentially, I mean, it can be quite a long-term relationship, can't it? I mean,
Yes,
you deal with
definitely.
it could take several months, close to a year, to sell your home, and even after your home is sold, there's still involvement, there's still paperwork, there's still things to be signed,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
COCs. Yeah, so okay, well, I mean, that right there is absolute gold. And now I'm going to move on to the next question here, Betsy. One that I'm actually quite interested to know. Um, are banks approving the majority of loans at the moment, or have they become a little bit more reserved or a little bit more analytical when it comes to the applicant? As a sign of the times.
They follow the process, so it's down to affordability again. Obviously, with people having, salary cuts and all those kind of things, their situation changed. So obviously, the banks will look at that changed situation as well. But in just on the average, I would say yes, they have a healthy appetite to and prepared to give loans. There's lovely products for first-time home loan, first-time home buyers. So they're really out there with great products to assist the home buyer.
And that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you know, from where I sit, I would almost expect banks to be hesitant to a point. Almost more, looking into the applicants a little further now. Or I would think that COVID would have made them go, sure, hang on a second, let's just take a second here and breathe, instead of hitting the approved stamp. But that's quite interesting. So they're just following process as
They're
they did
still
prior.
following the process. So if your situation changed, you might get a withdrawn loan application. But
Oh, that must hurt.
they do look at scoring. They do follow the process. So they've got their systems in place. So they're following the system.
And
Yes.
then how is affordability calculated? Because I mean, I remember when I first bought my house, there was the bank will only approve, X percentage of your salary versus, is there a formula?
Yes, they roughly look at 30% on your gross income jointly if you do
Okay.
have a joint application for the bond repayment. But then again, they narrow it down. Then they look at your debt and your affordability. So they need to know that your disposable income will cover that repayment. So again, people have different profiles and criteria at their banks. Might it be a private banker or the normal route that you follow? So they have their systems in place, and that's the checks they will do. Yes.
I mean, that's absolutely brilliant. So I mean, so at the end of this conversation, what I'm getting is that the property market sort of took a little bit of a bloop like everybody else, but it's definitely made an upturn overall.
As I'm going to say it again, there will always be buyers and sellers. It doesn't matter if the interest rate's 25% or 7% or how many people, and I just want to not sound not unsympathetic to people, because some people really struggling through the situation with losing jobs and industries closing. Look at restaurants, wedding venues, lodges, So people were hit hard with this.
Yeah.
So, but there will always be circumstances to buy and sell. So the property industry will always be alive. Again, it will be alive in 2021 for the agencies that's giving the customer service, that's doing the professional job they're supposed to do. They will thrive on in this industry. So you will always get the people that slack down, maybe fall out of the industry because it's too hard. But we will always be working harder and smarter, thinking out of the box, and being positive. Yes, we're looking forward to it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Betsie, we are heading towards the 40-minute mark, so we're going to have to cut it off there. But what I invite you to do is to please just tell people where they can contact your agency or yourself. Hand over your contact information. Guys, website and social media are panning at the bottom of the screen. But Betsie, if they want to get in contact with you and find out a little bit more about your business, where can they contact? Is it a sales address, an info address? You want to just call that
yes,
out?
Yes, I can send any inquiries to info@kairosproperties.co.za.
Oh, fantastic. And Betsie, once again, thank you so much for making the time to have a chat with me. What I actually want to discuss with you, just so that it's recorded and I can show you this evidence again in the new year, is I think what would be really nice, and it was actually a suggestion from Herman LaRue. Herman, shouts out to you, my friend. Thank you for the hookup. Is to maybe get a bond originator along with yourself and me on one show, so that we can really unpack this whole thing. I think it would be very interesting. I mean, of course, if you're open to it, I'm putting you on the spot.
For sure. For sure, anytime. That would be a great idea. The more knowledge you have, the better the decision at the end of the day. So most definitely.
No, that is absolutely fantastic. Guys, this has been another episode of Ads Unscrewed. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed to the channel. Thank you for those who've taken the time to watch my podcasts, to listen to my guests, and to share the love on Facebook and all the social media platforms. It's greatly appreciated. I can't express my gratitude more for you guys helping my channel grow. Thank you so much. This will be the last broadcast for the year, but we will be back in the new year with some awesome guests. We're going to have our lovely Betsie on again with us. We're going to have bond originators, and we are going to unpack this property industry bit by bit. But for now, Betsie, thank you very much. Much appreciated again. And Happy New Year, everybody. Happy Christmas. God bless.